Speakers at the Labour Party Democracy Day tax (NASS) to probe Inec over ₦700 billion 2023 expenditure. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for tuning in and listening to this headline that we got your ears this morning. Our headline for this morning says that Speaker at the Labour Party Democracy Day tax (NASS) to probe INEC over ₦400 billion 2023 expenditure. We have here that the 10th National Assembly has been urged to urgently commence the role played by the Independent Electoral Commission (INEC) in the 2023 general election, while the outcome failed to meet up with the expectations of Nigerians and the international community, and how it expended over ₦400 billion tax payment money. Citing South Africa, which used less than 20% of the total money spent by INEC to conduct a successful election only last week. The speaker also compared a June 12, 1993 presidential election and February 14, 2023 election, insists that both suffered annulment fates. The guest lecturer, Professor Sam Amadi, explained that the National Assembly probing INEC should be part of the oversight functions and obligations to Nigerians, stating that it should be able to explain Nigeria why its results are not collated and declared electronically and provided in the INEC Electoral Act as amended. Nigerians are indeed the National Assembly should be courageous enough to probe INEC expenditure during the 2023 general election. The failure of the INEC server during the presidential election with all the money given to them. It is appalling that no one spoke about the huge amount of money given. Mahmood Yakubu and all the INEC commissioners to prosecute a failed election failed because the Supreme Court had to step in to determine the results of elections. Furthermore, Dr. Amadi insisted that the ongoing electoral reform must reject the inconsistency of allowing the presidency to appoint an INEC chairman, stressing that such gives room for election rigging before the votes are cast. What is the immitment here and is that they have already positioned party members as INEC commissioners against 2027, where they would work and declare the results in favor of the presidency that appointed them. To this end, opposition parties should work together to win the war in electoral reforms. It is time for you to decide whatever to be the vanguard of change, or what is set up a system that can win election. That is because politics is not a game of possible. If we are determined, we will win. Further admonishing the Labour Party members during Democracy Day, he stated that in preparation for 2027, the Labour Party should reminiscence the Nigerian political terrain to determine how to go about its next election. I think it is an error for any political party to go into any election without strengthening its process. You must take a review of your past, your mistakes and opportunities, and weigh options for training your staffs and support for the electoral reforms. Things will positively work out, he said. While welcoming members during the occasion, the national chairman of the Labour Party, Barrister Julius Abure, reminded it similarly between the military regime of 1993 that annulled the general election in 2023 election, which was mismanaged by INEC. Abure said that one of the cardinal strong points to prepare the Labour Party again for the 2027 general election is to ensure a holistic approach to electoral reform, to ensure that the party followers are not well educated. We are to ensure that people themselves are not involved in betraying the parties. We have a situation where even INEC commissioners and party officials take bribe party agents to do the same. Labour Party National Assembly members who spoke at the occasion appealed to members to shun internal crisis and issue division in the party. Honorable Victor Adam Ogene, leader of the Labour Party Reps Cactus, while speaking, promised that electoral reforms, which has passed the second reading at the lower chamber, would ensure that the reform is passed into law and early enough against the 2027 general election. Also, the chairman of the Political Commission of the Trade Union Congress (TUC), Mr. Martins Egbanubi, collaborated that there is no division in the Labour Party and rumors as rumored We don't have to fractional leadership, and there can never be so. The Labour Party remains united and strong. And that is all we have for you concerning this headline, which says here that speakers at the Labour Party Democracy Day tax NASS to probe INEC over 400 billion naira 2023 expenditure. Yes, you all heard me while I was saying this headline, because a lot of things was said under this headline. And before we move on, don't forget to tap that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and also leave a like on this video so that any update that comes following this headline, you'll be the first to get notified about it ASAP. Okay, let's come back to this headline. It said that the 10th National Assembly, they urge the 10th National Assembly has been urged to urgently commence the role played by the INEC in the 2023 general election, while the outcome failed to meet up with the expectation of Nigeria and international community, and how it expended over 400 billion naira taxpayer money. 400 billion naira taxpayer money. They not compared it to South Africa, who just recently had an election, saying that they use less than 20% of the total money that INEC spent to conduct a successfully election last week. They say South Africa used not even less than 20% of that 400 billion naira that INEC spent. INEC used 400 billion naira to conduct the 2020 election, and South Africa used less than 20% of that money to conduct a successful election that happened last week. The speaker, he also compared to that of June 12, 1993 presidential election and February 14, 2023 election that happened, say that both suffered enormous fate. It is true. That's why I said we should look into the INEC this, and let's see some comments that came under this, because they said that the chairman of the political commission of the Trade Union Congress, Mr. Martins Egbam Nubi, collaborated that there is no division in Labour Party, as rumored, so that we don't have two fractional leadership, and there can never be so. The Labour Party remains united and strong. He also said that Nigerians and the National Assembly should be very much courageous to probe INEC expenditure, to probe INEC during the 2023 general election, because the failure of the INEC server during the presidential election, with all the money given to them, the server still had a failure with all the 400 billion naira. What do you guys think? Let me see your comment below in the comments